What is going on, everyone? Welcome to 24/7 Football for a talking points this week, because there's been many talking points throughout football this week, including Ronald Koeman as the new Barcelona manager, David Silva's statue and going to Real Sociedad, and also non-league crowds as well. So we're going to be discussing that this week, and we're going to be talking through those. So first up, Ronald Koeman, or Koeman, I don't care how you pronounce it, this man here, he is the new Barcelona manager. Well, he's guaranteed to be the Barcelona manager. At the point that I am recording this, he isn't the Barcelona manager, but he is going to be announced. He sort of fits the mould for Barcelona, you know, former player, legend, who has gone a different route in his managerial career, and is now going to replace the former manager at Barcelona and become the new manager. It was quite obvious that Quique Setien was going to get the sack at Barcelona. A very below average season, culminating in an 8-2 loss in the Champions League against Bayern Munich. They got absolutely dismantled, and to be fair to him, I don't really think it's his fault. I think Barcelona as a club, from top to bottom, they need a transition. They need to do something, because it just doesn't seem like the club is run in the right way at the moment, and it seems like they're doing very poor financially as well. I might do another video looking at all the recent transfers into Barcelona and how they fared, because they've spent a lot of money on the likes of Coutinho, who scored against them for Bayern Munich, who is actually still a Barcelona player and celebrated. The likes of Griezmann, we all knew where Barcelona's problems were, and that was defensively, and we saw that massively against Bayern Munich. And some of the transfers that they've conducted just don't seem right, and the whole club doesn't seem right. So Setien is out. Barcelona were in the hunt for a new manager, and like I said, Koeman is the man to fill that void. So he's been at Barcelona before, so Barcelona legend, of course, was one of the best players in the world during his peak. He then moved into management. He was the assistant manager for Netherlands, where he manages now. He was also the assistant at Barcelona, and he's had quite a long managerial career, Dutch football, Ajax, Vitesse, and then Benfica, PSV, Valencia, AZ Alkmaar, Feyenoord, then to Southampton, then to Everton, which was his biggest break so far, and then he took over the Dutch national team. And there's one thing that you don't see with Koeman is longevity. He has not stayed at a club for very long, which, sort of indicates what type of a manager you are dealing with there. He's got potential to be a good manager, really good potential, and he's done well at clubs, but it just never lasts, and it's quite a common theme throughout his career. And he goes into Barcelona, which on the face of it is such a mouth-watering prospect for any manager, but it's a little bit of a poison chalice. They need such a rebuild, such an ageing squad at Barcelona, and I think the club itself needs changing and turning around from top to bottom. So it's going to be an interesting ride for Koeman. Has he got the minerals really for the Barcelona job? Because I think you need a really strong character to go in and turn Barcelona around, because there's some huge decisions that need to be made. I think I saw a transfer list that they want to get rid of up to 8 players, such as Busquets, Jordi Alba, Gerard Piqué, and they need to get rid of them. Well, maybe not all of them, but they need to at least bring in this new wave of talent that hasn't really hit Barcelona yet, especially coming out of La Masia. Eric Garcia would be a start to that. They've already got Frenkie de Jong, but it's a big rebuilding job. Is Koeman the right man for it? Let me know in the comments below, but I'm glad that it means that Pep Guardiola is staying at City. Next talking point is, of course, David Silva, like we mentioned. A 10-year span at Manchester City has come to an end in poor circumstances, really. They got knocked out of the Champions League by Lyon, which we've already spoken about. We don't need to go over it again. So then David Silva's reign at the club has ended, an absolute legend for the club, and City came out and said that he will be getting a statue outside the Etihad Stadium, and this was after last year's announcement that Vincent Kompany would be getting a statue as well. And it seems to have been not taken very well by other fans. Not that City fans or anything like that would care about what other fans would say, but there seems to be a notion that, you know, a player like David Silva hasn't done enough for Manchester City. I do think with Manchester City, it's this new wave. It was the initial wave of players that paved the way for the success that they're seeing now, which we never had before, but except for the 1970s, which was that golden era for the club. And there are other players like Bert Troutman and Colin Bell who do have statues at the Etihad, but they're at the main entrances, whereas these will be getting the statues outside the Etihad. And I do think it's that trio along with Aguero that will get statues because of their spell at the club, which will have gone beyond 10 years, played numerous amount of games, won loads of trophies, which they never had at the club for years. And yeah, they've been fantastic for the club. You know, there's other talents such as Yaya Toure, you know, Pablo Zabaleta, those type of players. Yaya was a monster for the club and he was an unbelievable footballer, but he never really had that longevity at the club that David Silva or Vincent Kompany or Sergio Aguero's had, but he still had a training pitch named after him at the stadium. So I don't think it is tin pot that these type of players do get a statue outside the Etihad. I think I've seen a few Liverpool fans and United fans saying about the fact that Paul Scholes and co haven't had a statue outside the stadium, and I think you really need to look at the club, at your own club for that, because you know, a player like Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes, those type of calibre players, are they not worthy of a statue? I think you'd really have to ask them. I know Manchester City haven't had that calibre of player in more recent history, but I think we've seen it a lot, and I think it's only right that David Silva gets a statue along with those other two players that I've mentioned, because he's been amazing. He's been an unbelievable footballer for the Premier League and Manchester City, and he will go down as one of the Premier League greats, and he's been unbelievable for the club, and I don't think anyone will really care outside of the Manchester City, inside the City bubble, that people have these opinions. So David Silva's getting a statue along with Vincent Kompany, and you'd assume the same with Sergio Aguero when he leaves the club. And that'll be nice for the club. So David Silva is going to Real Sociedad. It all looks certain that he was going to go to Lazio until Real Sociedad hijacked the move in the last day, really. I think it was all completed to go to Lazio, and I think the president of Lazio said he doesn't respect David Silva as a man. I can't really speculate on what's happened there. But it did seem done and dusted. Did David Silva not let Lazio know that he was going in a different direction when it all seemed completed for him to go to Italy? You can only ask the main parties in that, but you know, I think David to go back to his home country for, not that the weather in Manchester's not great, but to go back to Spain for him is probably unbelievable for his family, and he feels that that's the right move. So yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one because we've never really seen a controversy come out of David Silva, and this is the first time we've seen it. So he is going back to Spain with Real Sociedad. Finally, on the talking points is non-league football. And whether or not crowds should be allowed back in the stadiums, especially at non-league level. So it's been reported that more than 30 MPs have written to Sports Minister Nigel Huddleston calling for fans to be allowed back into matches at non-league level. And you can see where they're coming from as well. You know, non-league football isn't as tightly packed in as Premier League games, and some clubs don't even get turnouts of over 100. So if they can manage the numbers and manage the social distancing and everyone adheres to the guidelines, and I don't see why not, because non-league football is on its knees, as we all know. We've seen one club pull out of the league and cut competitions and pretty much fade off into non-existence, and that is Droylsden. And I'm surprised we haven't seen a lot more as well. You know, we're seeing spectators being allowed back in at cricket and snooker as well at the World Championships. People were allowed indoors. And you could hear the coughing on TV as well as they watch Ronnie O'Sullivan win his world title. And I don't know, football's outside. everyone's an adult, they can social distance, but non-league clubs need the revenue, and it really is a travesty, not just for non-league fans or for non-league football clubs, but for every football fan, because that is the staple of football, is non-league. So many young players benefit from going down to non-league in terms of loan systems and loan moves. So many fans and communities benefit from having non-league football clubs as well. I benefited from a non-league football club because I did my work at Ashton United, and so many others rely on non-league to find their way into the industry and use it as a stepping stone, and it's a brilliant experience. So there's a petition that are being circulated in terms of letting fans into non-league games. I'll put them all in the description below for you to sign if you want to. So leagues at step 5 and 6 in the non-league pyramid was due to start on the 5th of September, but they will no longer do so without fans, because what do clubs gain from having games behind closed doors? We know what the big clubs gain. It's in terms of TV revenue, advertising. Non-league clubs don't gain anything from having games behind closed doors because they rely on match day revenue and match day revenue alone. So it needs to be resolved quickly, and it needs to be resolved soon. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing so many non-league clubs going bankrupt and unfortunately disappearing altogether. So make sure you sign that petition below. That is all the talking points that we've got today. If I have missed any, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think of what I've said about the talking points below as well. Always brilliant to discuss with you all about football, even though I don't agree with with some of you, but I'm sure a lot of you do not agree with me. So subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Check out our website 247football.com. Check out our website again, 247football.com. I've just said that, don't know why I'm saying it again. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.